Hello everyone, welcome to Literature Reads. Today we'll do On a Drop of Dew by Andrew Marvell. So whenever we start any book or any work of literature, we should know about the writer, the author or the poet. The poet here, Andrew Marvell, is quite important. So he is considered to be one of the person in the group of metaphysical poets. Now who were these metaphysical poets? So let's come to the term first, metaphysical, meaning beyond physical or metaphysical का मतलब in simple words we can say which is beyond our physical understanding. So this term is very important. The questions can be asked that describe Andrew Marvell as a metaphysical poet with reference to On a Drop of Dew. These kind of questions are usually asked. So let's come back to metaphysical poet. Now this term was coined by Samuel Johnson to describe a group of 17th century English poets whose work was characterized by the inventive use of conceits. Now, this term is very important. When we talk about metaphysical, it is equal to conceits. We'll get to know about the conceit later on. And these poets were also known as Baroque poets, Baroque. Talking about the central idea of the poem, that is that the human soul, it comes into this world from heaven and it is very anxious to go back from where it came. Here, the drop of dew is a metaphor for the human soul. So, let's just quickly begin with the poem. Line 1. See how the orient dew, shed from the bosom of the morn into the blowing roses, yet careless of its mansion new, for the clear region where it was born, round in itself encloses, and in its little globes extend, frames as it can its native element. Now, in these lines, the drop of dew is described, which has come from the morning into these roses, into the blossoming roses, because it has, this that water, that dew is on the roses. So that is how it's described. Now, this drop of dew does not know that it has arrived to a completely different place, and that this place is just a temporary home for it, and that it will eventually go back to its origin. Round in itself encloses, matlab this dewdrop, this water is a round in shape. It has enclosed itself to form a round shape. Coming to line 9, how it the purple flower does slide, scarce touching where it lies, but gazing back upon the skies, shines with a mournful light, like its own tear, because so long divided from the spear. Restless it rolls and unsecure, trembling lest it grows impure, till the warm sun pity its pain, and to the skies exhale it back again. Now, this dewdrop is lying on a purple colored flower and it is trying to be, very scarcely touching the flower. And this dewdrop, it is also gazing back upon the sky. Now, the next three lines are very, very beautiful. Shines with a mournful light like its own tear because so long divided from the spear. Now, this dewdrop is shining with a light, and this light is, how is it? It is mournful, it is sad, like its own tear. And it seems like that the dewdrop is its own tear. And why has this tear come? Because so long divided from the spear, because it has been divided from its origin, and because it had to leave its origin, and that is why it is so sad, because it desperately wants to go back to its origin. Restless it rolls and unsecure, so it's very restless because it wants to go back to the origin, and it wants to have zero contact with the word, or it will grow impure till the warm sun pity its pain and to the skies exhale it back again. And then the sun will pity the mournful dewdrop, and then it will try to evaporate it and take it back to its origin. Now, in the next paragraph, we see the explanation of the metaphor of the drop of dew which was taken. So let's begin with line 19. So the soul that dropped that ray of the clear fountain of eternal day, could it within the human flower be seen, remembering still its former heights, shuns the sweet leaves and blossoms green, and recollecting its own light, does in its pure and circling thoughts express the greater heaven in an heavenlet. In the same way, the human soul, which is also like the dewdrop, and that ray, matlab ki which is also like the ray of heavenly sun, comes from heaven and dwells within the human body. मतलब कि जो हमारी ये soul है वो भी एक इस ड्यू ड्रॉप की तरह हमारे पास हेवन से, एंड दिस सोल Although it is not visible, it always remembers its original abode from where it has arrived. And this soul of ours, it always tries to avoid the pleasures of this materialistic world, right? At least that is what Marvel is saying here. Coming to the next lines, line 27. In how coy a figure wound, every way it turns away, so the word excluding round, yet receiving in the day, dark beneath but bright above, here disdaining there and love. In how coy a figure wound, मतलब this dewdrop makes such a figure of itself, takes such a shape, जिससे कि ये अर्थ से और अर्थ की चीज़ों से ज़्यादा दूर रह सके. Yet receiving in the day, yet it is open, this dewdrop is open to the sunlight, because according to the dewdrop, the sunlight is the light that comes from heaven itself. So it accepts or it likes this light, dark beneath but bright above. For this dewdrop, there is darkness over here. मतलब earth पे there is darkness for it, but it's bright above, but it's bright from where it has arrived. Here disdaining, there in love. So here this dewdrop feels very disdaining, very unworthy, but there it feels in love. It is loved there. Coming to the next lines, how loose and easy hence to go, how girth and ready to ascend. So it is very like very ready to go back, and it is ready to ascend. मतलब कि ये जो ड्यू ड्रॉप है इसे वापस जाने की, मतलब it's ready to go back. Next lines, moving but on a point below, it all about does upwards bend, meaning that every movement of this dewdrop is just so that it can reach to its home, to its place. Next line, such did the manna sacred dew distill. Now this manna is a reference to the Bible, and it is taken from the book of Exodus, I think. Now this manna, like I'm giving you a short summary, that this manna was a food. It was kind of a bread which was given by God to the Israelites for 40 years while they were traveling, so that they could sustain themselves. And when the Israelites finally arrived at the promised land, this manna, it stopped falling. So coming back to our poem, such did the manna sacred dew distill. So जैसे कि मन्ना आया, ठीक है, और वो एक टाइम बाद वापस मतलब एक तरह से वापस चला गया. इफ़ यू टेक एंड द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ अ ड्यू ड्रॉप, कि ड्यू ड्रॉप भी वैसे ही आती है और फिर अपने आप वापस चली जाती है. Now, this dewdrop has been compared to manna, and white and entire, though congealed and chill, congealed on earth, but dust dissolving, run into the glories of the Almighty's. तो ये जो मन्ना है, which is referred to as the dewdrop, ये white color की है, ठीक है. इट्स वेरी चिल, वो बहुत, ये अर्थ पर जब रहती है तो ये कंजील्ड हो जाती है, एक तरह से जम जाती है. बट डस्ट डिजॉल्विंग रन इनटू द ग्लोरीज ऑफ द ऑलमाइटी सन, बट एज द सन रेज फॉल onto it, it starts to dissolve, run into the glories of the almighty sun, matlab it starts to evaporate and go back to its origin, to God. So I hope you found this video informative. Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe.